do have Mr. Chaz here. What is up, Chaz? How you doing, man?
Hey, April. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Chaz with Red Leather in the house, dude. Yeah, this huge pandemic time. Crazy world we're living in, dude.
What do you think of my pandemic hair? I've been letting it grow.
I love it. I was, it's so funny because I was like laying in bed last night and I was like, I think I could like sleep without a blanket right now because I just, just wrap myself up. Yeah, I can just like wrap myself up in my hair. Really cool.
That's crazy. Yeah, I've had like one haircut in 2020 and been growing it out since the pandemic. It was kind of short and spiky.
Yeah.
And now it's like, it's all getting long. I'm like starting to look like a rock star again.
I know we talked last night. You had a hat on and I didn't realize you were a long-haired hippie now. That's pretty cool.
No, bringing it back. I'm bringing the hippie back, man.
Well, I'm super glad you could join us tonight, man. One of the things that I've found really cool is having folks that I know in the local music scene on the show to talk kind of about how they got into music and what they did when they were growing up playing and just how everything kind of evolved because, we see each other passing each other.
I'm not passed out of the club.
I passed out a lot in clubs about 20 years ago, but not recently. But no, passing each other at clubs, and we don't really know the whole story. And I've actually known you. The first time I can remember talking to you was 1998. My band was Frognot. And
we remember that.
I know, and you were on because you were way too cool at the time. You were working for the Eagle, and I still am. And you totally are, but somehow you remembered my name today. But yeah, so you were on the Eagle, and they were doing this thing in Unfiltered in Deep Ellum, and you would interview bands there. And so we were playing a gig there, and you came and interviewed us before our set. Right. And I actually had the picture, but I was like, it's too crappy to even post because it's so old. You can hardly even tell who it is anymore. But that was 1998. And then we've still both been in the music scene ever since then. But you were involved in music even way before that. You've been involved for a long time. So how did it all start? What first got you into music when you were really little? Take us back to the beginning.
I had a tennis racket that I used to pretend was a guitar when I was a little kid. I mean, really, that's not a lie. I really always dreamed, I don't know what happened to me. So my dad raised me by himself. And so I had a babysitter that lived across the street. This babysitter had the greatest album collection ever. Turned me on to the Beatles, to Van Halen, to all the great bands, right? So my music, and my mom was in the picture, but not in the picture. I would see her every once in a while, but she was younger than my father. My dad was 30 and my mom was 18 when I was born. So yeah, there was kind of an age gap. But my mom used to sing Elvis to me in her stomach. But then, obviously my mom went off. She was younger. They didn't work out. But this babysitter really just got me into music. And then I had a friend who was a big Kiss fan and got me into Kiss when I was in 5th grade. So I had dreams and aspirations of being a musician and music just kind of was always in me. But then once I discovered Van Halen and Kiss and Led Zeppelin, that kind of lit the fire inside of me. And I used to pretend I was a rock star. I used to, play that tennis racket and I used to sing in the shower. And then I was just always a big fan of rock music.
Totally.
And then that led to, meeting like-minded people, friends, that were into bands, Motley Crue, Rat, the whole 80s rock thing. Cause I'm a little older. And, and so
I'm not at all.
Right. You youngins don't realize this, but the 80s rock scene was amazing.
Right. Well, I have to ask you, you mentioned the Kiss, right? And were you one of the kids like I remember when the ice cream truck would go by, they had
I gotta show you.
They had the little Kiss baseball cards and the gum, and you could buy it at the ice cream truck, and you just run out there and buy it, and you could collect those little baseball cards.
Oh my God. Yes, I had all of them. I mean, yeah, Kiss was my life. Hold on. I want to show you this. Hold on one second.
All right.
Watch.
Cool. Taking us behind the scenes.
This is a picture. I'm sorry. I had to do that because this is important to the story. But here's a picture of me in 5th grade. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, you can see it.
And wearing a Kiss t-shirt. My dad was so cool. he like totally let me listen to whatever I wanted to listen to. And I had every Kiss record, and I worshiped Kiss. Like they were my first love, right? And so, that passion for music just led me through my whole life, through high school. And then when I graduated high school, I moved to Texas, and that's how I got here. I went to college and I studied music. I actually studied guitar and performance. And my whole dream was to be a rock star.
Where did you study guitar at?
I went to Texas Tech in Lubbock, Texas, West Texas.
Yeah.
Which, if you're a traveling band, you might have played a gig there.
Yep.
But it's a cool place. My mom actually had lived there. So my mom and dad divorced when I was like 2. And then that's the first time I actually lived with my mom. And I moved to Lubbock. I went to school. I studied music. But, college, I partied probably more than I studied. Oops. And
I can very much relate to you. I did the same thing at UNT, so I totally understand.
I didn't, I worked at my craft. I started a band, and we used to play the open jam, Wednesday night open jam, and playing cover tunes. And I joined another band, and we started writing originals, and I did that for a little while. And but I was just playing guitar. I wasn't even singing at that point. Okay, I was just playing guitar. And then what happened was I kind of stumbled into a radio gig. I was studying music. I actually had left tech and dropped down to a junior college in Levelland, Texas. And I actually went to college with Natalie Maines from the Dixie Chicks. So we were friends.
Really?
We were in this. Yeah, it was really crazy. I was in these same classes with Natalie Maines. We actually were in a class called Rock Ensemble, where the classes, you're a band and you have to learn these songs. And then at the end of the semester, you have to play live in front of the school. So me and Natalie, we're in this same class in this band, and it was so surreal now to think, you look back and you think, wow, I actually played in a band with Natalie Maines. So I got the bug of music, but it also, that led me into learning about music production, broadcasting, and I got into the radio broadcasting, and I got an offer to intern at the local rock station there in Lubbock. So obviously I said, yeah, the rock station, cool. Maybe I'll get some free concert tickets, Right?
Set your sights high.
I'll get some free CDs,
right.
Cool. So I got the gig, and I just kept bothering them like, hey, I don't want to be an intern. I want to be on the air. I want to be a radio DJ because, I see how those guys party and how cool they're admired, right? That they're almost like pseudo rock stars in the community. So one day the program director said, are you ready? And I said, for? And he said, we're going to put you on the air this Sunday, right? So I was scared. Ooh, I was so scared to go on the air, crack that mic for the first time.
Wow.
But eventually, it was
so crazy, man.
I'm so outgoing and stuff. I used to be more outgoing. The older I get, the more introverted I get. But, I got over that fear. I started, I just kind of, again, honed that craft of how to be on the air, how to be a DJ, how to intro songs, how to kind of relate to the audience. So I got really good really quick, because I kind of had a little bit of a personality, a little bit. And it really went really well. And then one day my program director called me in April, and he says, look, he said, you're good. You're going to be good at this, but you're not going to go anywhere in Lubbock, Texas, because unless somebody gets caught with drugs or dies, you're just not going to get, because these guys have been DJing. They're like homers, they've been there for 15, 20 years, right? He goes, but Dallas, Texas, 97.1 The Eagle is looking for some part-time DJs. And I've already told him about you. I've kind of got...
You're kidding. So he threw your name in the hat and everything?
What had happened was...
So cool.
The thing that happens in radio is the record labels, Warner Brothers, MCA, Capitol, whatever record label it is, they visit the radio stations about once a week, once every 2 weeks, to push new albums, to push new bands, to push new songs to get played on the radio. And the Warner Brothers record lady said, hey, the Eagles looking for some DJs. You should, do you have any DJs here? So it was kind of a couple of people that kind of helped me get to Dallas. But that's what happened. Eventually, my name was in the hat. I got an interview at the Eagle. And so I packed up my truck. I had a little Isuzu Trooper. I packed my U-Haul, all my stuff, because I thought it meant that I got the job. I didn't realize it was just an interview. So I pull up to the Eagle Studios and I meet the program director. His name was Dwayne Doherty. And he interviews me. He listens to my little air check and he goes, okay, you're pretty good. Okay, well, I'll call you back and let you know if you got the job. And I was like,
yeah, but what about, I've got my luggages in the car. I've got an apartment.
I said, you see that U-Haul down there? And that's my truck. I'm loaded up. Like, I came here thinking I already had the job. And he goes, are you serious? And I said, yeah, like, this is like what I want to do. This is my gig. I mean, I have nowhere to go. Like, you have to hire me. And he goes, well, can you start this weekend? And I said, I'm there, right? So
no way, man. That's awesome.
Just forced my way to the Eagle, and he hired me. And again, it was the same thing. It was like deja vu. The first time I was on the air, I was so scared because I'm not in Lubbock, Texas anymore. I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth. This is like the number 6 market in the United States. So there's millions of listeners. You know, I was used to maybe 100,000 listeners. Now I'm cracking the mic to 1 million listeners in the North Texas area. So, man, I did the radio gig. And again, once I got comfortable with it, I just got better and better, and promotions came. And finally, I ended up doing afternoons with Cindy Skull. And that's really, and then Chris Ryan was doing the local show, and he was like, I'm done with this. You know, he was on the way out already, kind of had his mind made up. He was going to quit doing radio. So he handed me the local show, and I took over because I was a musician already. I already loved music. I already played guitar, and I started singing at that point. And he said, yeah, just take over the show. We do it Sunday nights, and you just interview the bands. You'd be great at it. Just do it. And I said, oh, okay. So I took over the local show. And then, as you remember, because that's where we met,
right?
Is it went from a little club at Unfiltered and eventually to the Curtain Club. And I won't take all the credit because there were so many great bands in Dallas. I mean, so many great bands. It made my job really easy.
Yeah, back in that day, it was just hopping awesome, like amazing.
Tripping Daisy, Toadies, Pantera, Drowning Pool, Edgewater. I mean, Flicker Stick. I mean, every band. It seemed like every couple months another band was getting signed to a major label deal. I mean, it was super easy for me at that time. So I just would book bands at the club, and I'd get on the mic and interview them just like I did with Frognot, and play some tunes, and it caught on, and people started coming, and we used to have the bands play after the live broadcast, and the show got, the owner of the Curtain Club, he would say, our Sunday nights are more popular than our Friday and Saturday nights, because not only did we, have the bands and do the radio broadcast, but in between the bands, let's say that there was some shenanigans that went on that were kind of funny to some. Probably wouldn't be acceptable in this day and age.
Right.
Because there might have been some nudity involved and some
different
other
things like that. Yes.
Yeah. Performance art. Let's call it performance art. So yeah, not acceptable today, but back then it was a huge hit. So yeah. And that really got me into the music scene. Right. And I thought to myself, okay, I got this great radio gig. Why am I not taking advantage of it? Let me start a band. I want to play on the radio. Like, this is my in, right? So I formed a band, just a cover band. And our idea was like, we're going to play the open jam like at the Liquid Lounge or the Wednesday night Curtain Club, kind of like, just play some cover songs, some 80s rock, rock it out. And I got Neil Swanson from Tech 3, if you remember that band. They were kind of a rap, rockish band. And then the drummer from Project 232, Ross Rubio, who's now in a band called Big Story, who's signed to a major label. And then, we just kind of pieced this thing together, and we started performing gigs. And immediately we started playing Motley Crue, Skid Row, Poison, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everybody loved it. They were like, oh my God, we love the 80s.
What was the name of that band?
It was Red Leather.
Okay, so there you go. This is like the first... Wow, I had no idea you guys have been around that long.
I'm old.
I knew you were old. That's not what I said. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
2002.
Dang.
So yeah, 2002
Really?
was the first Red Leather gig at an open jam on a Wednesday night.
Holy crap, man! So you
Yeah.
guys started out like in playing in Deep Ellum.
We started playing in Deep Ellum.
Holy
right?
crap!
And we were the only cover band.
Oh,
in
I
Deep
know.
Ellum.
I'm like, who the fuck? I'm like, no, nobody plays covers in Deep Ellum. I don't know how you did that. Wow.
But you know how I did it? I was the guy from the Eagle.
Right. Like, hey, it's Chaz. Yeah.
I could do anything I want. So we played, and people started going, "That's great. Let's book you." And we started playing like gigs, opening up for bands as the cover band. So we opened up, and we got good enough to where we opened up for Rat, we opened up for Warrant, we opened up for Thin Lizzy, we opened up for Brett Michaels.
And that's like really unheard of to be like a cover band and you're opening for national bands like that. That's not very common to happen. I mean, we've only had that happen like a small handful of times. It's not that common.
It's not a normal thing.
No.
We opened up for Winger, Kip Winger.
Really?
I mean, we played some pretty impressive gigs, and we've been doing it. So Red Leather from 2002, obviously members have come and gone. I'm really the only original member. Neil Swanson, the guitar player, the original guitar player, he ended up going to play with Steve Vai and Dave from the Rhythmics, and then now he plays with Orianthi or whoever. I can't even say her name right, but
no, that's her. She's awesome. Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah,
I have
so
her autographed picture on my wall right here. I have to pull that off and show you too. Crazy.
So and we've had like the drummer that's in the most recent Red Leather is the drummer from Chastain and Merciful Fate. We've had some really impressive players in this band, and we've played some pretty big time gigs. I actually got to sing at Dime Fest, that big, after Dimebag Daryl had died from Pantera, they used to have this big Dime Fest, or Ride for Dime, I guess is what they call it, Ride for Dime. And they would bring in like these Typo Negative and Stained and Ace Frehley. And so like they asked me to sing with these people, and I'm like, I'm just like a DJ that has a cover band, and like, yeah, just come on down and sing some songs. And so I got to sing at this Ride for Dime thing. I was the only local guy, and I'm on stage with all these legendary rock stars, which, being in radio, I've met rock stars, and, I've met Aerosmith, Motley Crue. I've met all the, big time people, right? Talked to them on the phone, interviewed them, had them come in the studio. But when you're on stage performing with them,
it's just a whole different thing, man. That's a whole different thing.
It's, stage fright is one thing, but that was like severe anxiety stage fright.
Yeah.
I'm like, I look over and all right, there's the guy from Stained, and then on the drums, the guy from Typo Negative, and then the bass player from Hell Yeah, so it's like, why am I even singing with these guys? So that was cool. So we've done some crazy cool things, and that's really the story of me being a kid with a dream of one day being able to be a rock star, and then actually it all kind of panning out and getting me to this point where, hey, I'm on the show with April.
What could be huger, really, when you think about it?
This is the highlight of my career.
Right here, dude. It's happening right now. Shut up. Man, that's awesome, though. So 2000, did you say 2002 was the first Red Leather show? And then,
first Red Leather show.
So at what point did you decide to leave radio and then you just focus on Red Leather as your music outlet?
Well, if you know anything about radio, and you might, it's a very volatile industry. So formats change, new companies buy radio stations, fire the staff. So that's exactly what happened to me. There was a lot of volatility going on at the Eagle at that time, and there was talks about firing the whole staff. And I'm like, well, damn it, I've worked so hard to become somewhat of a figure in this community, and really a local music. I promoted local music. I promoted local band. I mean, this was my thing, and I didn't want it to go away. So I had an opportunity to move. A lot of the people from the Eagle had went over to another radio station, 105.3, and they called it the Talk That Rocks. So it was a talk station, but it was that Howard Stern. Howard Stern moved over there. It was more of a rock kind of an attitude, but they mostly talk format. And the Eagle is now kind of doing that, right? The Eagle now has talk in the afternoons and stuff, which I kind of wish they just played music, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I took the show over there because they told me, hey, if you come over here, Chaz, we'll extend the local show from 1 hour to 2 hours, and we'll pay you more money. Obviously, they paid me more money. I mean, that was
That's awesome. Wow.
That, because I was making great money, and I love the Eagle. Eagle was my home.
Yeah.
I mean, and still will always be like the greatest thing in my life. But man, when they offer you that much money and they say they'll let you have more time on the air and they'll let you have this and they'll do you to do all this. So I went over there. I regretted it later. I should have stayed at the Eagle. But the Eagle flipped formats right after that. They went Spanish. They went to Tejano or
I remember it's hard to believe that there was ever a time when the Eagle wasn't the Eagle, because even when I was when I was like 9 years old, I had a little square sticker that said KGL the Eagle land on it, and it was on my record player. And back then it was who was the guy that was really Kid Craddock, yes. No? Yeah, it was Kid Craddock. Yeah. Back then when he was on the Eagle, and it was always a rock format. Super cool rock and roll, and then all of a sudden just went crazy for a few years. It was like gone, essentially.
That's what happened, after I left the Eagle. I mean, I kind of left at the right time, although they went back to the rock station now, but I did leave at the right time, because when I went over there, Eagles flipped to Sunny 97.1, which is a Tejano station. Can you even fathom that?
I know, I can't. It's so crazy, man. Crazy.
So that didn't last long, and then the Eagle came back, and right now the Eagle, is still there. The Eagle 97.1, the Eagle rocks. But so I worked at 105.3 for a while, and it just didn't work out. I mean, the people over there, and then they were about to flip formats again. So I left there and I applied at the Bone. If you remember 93.3 The Bone.
I do remember the Bone, and I did an interview with the Bone, and I'm trying to remember the woman's name who I interviewed with that was there.
Debbie Sexton.
Yeah, no? maybe it was her.
Or God, I'm trying to remember who the other one was. Channing.
No.
Channing.
Maybe it was Debbie. I can't remember, but I remember the Bone definitely.
So I interviewed with the Bone because one of my old people in the industry had started working at the Bone and got me the interview, and I was about to join the Bone because I was ready to get back into rock music. I mean, I'm a rock guy, so I mean, yeah, it was great, but I just wasn't getting the love at 105.3. So as soon as I interviewed for the Bone, they're like, "Great, we want you here. You can do the local show from here." So I was about to move it again, and then the next week after that, they flip formats to adult alternative or whatever. They flip formats. And so, sorry, we're not going to hire you now.
Oh, gosh. It's like,
right. So
the air right out of you, man.
Right. Cause, I'm trying to make all these moves. Right. And trying to, provide for my family. Cause at that time I had met a girl and I had a baby, because that's what happens sometimes.
It sometimes does.
And sometimes that happens when you do stuff. And so I was pretty frustrated, and I was like, okay, so do I move somewhere and do radio? I got offers from Boise, Idaho, from, Billings, Montana, from even I could have moved to Hawaii to do radio. But the problem was that I had a family. I had family here. I had, I couldn't just uproot and go, and then, it wasn't fair to everybody else, because now there's other people involved besides me. So I just left radio. I just said, you know what? I'm done. I'll try to do something on my own. So what I did is I developed my own company. I started my own company. I started doing basically internet radio local shows. I started a thing called Texas Radio One, which was an internet radio station that had different genres of just Texas music. And we had listeners from all over the world. And because you would be amazed how many people around the world love Texas music, and all genres, country, rock, hip hop. So I kind of got into, really broadened my horizons and got into all genres of local or Texas music, and developed that and worked on that project for a couple years. The guy who was funding it just told me one day he's not going to fund it anymore because it's expensive to, the equipment and logistics and websites and, to do what we were doing. he decided he's not going to fund it anymore. So that kind of died out. I had started another kind of events. We used to do a thing called Girls Gone Radio, and where I would go to clubs and have like, girls, like that's when, MySpace and the whole kind of Instagram model kind of thing started happening.
Right.
So I would have random like Miller Lite girls, Coors Light girls, like any kind of spokesmodel, any kind of girl that wanted to be on the radio. So I can kind of be a pseudo Howard Stern and kind of mess with them a little bit. We started doing these live shows and inviting these girls out and booking clubs and having live bands, So it was basically an extension of the local show, but just a little different kind of format, just kind of taking it all over Dallas, Fort Worth. And that lasted for a little while, but then that kind of died out as well. So, man, I just totally got out of it at that point. There really was nowhere for me to go. So Red Leather was pretty much it.
Yeah, and so you've had that as the one consistent thing this whole time, though, your actual music that you play yourself and perform. And were you ever a guitar player in Red Leather, or have you always just been the singer? Because I didn't even realize that you play guitar until we were talking last night, because I've never seen you play guitar on stage that I can think of. Yeah, and there you are.
Yes, no. So I have played guitar on a few times in Red Leather, but we've always had great guitar players. Yeah. And to sing and play guitar, it's kind of like singing and play drums. Yeah, can you do it? Sure. But there's only one or two Phil Collins in the world, or Don Henleys in the world that can actually play drums and sing perfectly.
Right.
I mean, it's tough, right? You can tell me it's tough. Playing guitar and singing is the same way. I just didn't have that coordination. So I would play guitar on some things, but eventually it's like, why? When we got a guitar player that can, we got Neil Swanson, or we got Burke Morphew. We've got these guitar players that are, great guitar players. Why am I even messing with it? Let me just sing and act like a fool,
And you do that really well too. So it works out.
See what she did there?
I know, right?
See what she did?
Fell right into that one.
Yeah. So yeah, people want to see the clown, So I just, said, hey, I'll just be the clown.
Well, I make jokes about it, but there really is an art to being a front man. There's not, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's hard to be a great front man. I think of you as a great front man. I think of Shannon as a great front man. It's a really hard thing to do. It's one thing to be a great singer, but to bring that energy and that entertainment value is so important, and you're one of the people that can do that. That's why anytime there's these little award things that happen, there's always Red Leather in it. It's because you guys are a very entertaining band. You're a great band and you're an entertaining band, so there's more to it than just the music.
Yeah, between songs is really, you got to keep it kind of going. If the thing about when Red Leather started, I mean, just like when you start any band, you end a song and there's silence, right? And then there's that awkward silence, and then the singer's like, so this next song, right?
Yeah, or the same thing over and over. You're always going, everybody make some noise or whatever. It's like it's the same thing every time. You're like, come on, guy, you got to say something different.
Right. So part of the craft is to, keep it going. You're kind of the conductor, right? So you have to keep it going, and with Red Leather, I've always been like, we need to do this. We need to do this. We need to do this song. We need to do, let's cut the time in between songs. Let's keep it going. Okay, we're going to go from this song to this song, but I'm going to do this rap, like, hey, everybody, what's going on, man? Red Leather, right, whatever. So you have to develop that, it's not just singing, which, I've been fortunate enough that music has always been a part of me. And I have this spiritual thing with music. So I can sing and hit notes, and I'm kind of on key, and I kind of remember the lyrics. So that's a positive. Yeah. But even more is I can kind of keep the party going. I'm the MC, so I can keep the party going. So in between songs, I can say some things. I can keep the crowd interested and motivated. By the time the next song starts, and boom, we're back into it. So the DJ experience really helped with that.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It all kind of plays together, So I don't take any of that for granted. I was fortunate to, have everything happen to me in my life, from my experiences to my, work history to, it really has led me to what I am today. So, and it's fun. I like, it doesn't hurt to have some self-esteem issues and want to be the center of attention. I will admit that. So it all plays together, though.
Yeah, it does.
It comes out,
Yeah, and it's interesting. You're talking about, you kind of have to carry the show. You're sort of like the MC, if you will. You've got to keep the show rolling. And I don't know if you guys did this, but something that people that don't think about very much is that it is really important to roll songs together. So, a lot of times, I think in every band that I've been in the last 20 years, we have like a line on our list. Like we'll have, okay, here's these songs, and then there'll be a line, and that tells us, okay, stop there. We're going to do some shenanigans or whatever. And then the next are all together, and then there's a line, stop there, we're going to do some shenanigans. And so there's all that stuff. And in Metal Shop, we've had to come up with like signals and different things like that so that we know, like if there's a point where we need to stop, or, if Shannon wants to stop, he has a signal for me that we worked out that tells me he wants to stop after that song or whatever. And so that's like a lot of stuff that people don't think about. Do you guys have things like that you do, or signals, or is your set list, or do you just what? Here it comes. Okay. I'm scared already.
Yeah.
Keep it clean, okay?
It made me laugh because here's what happened. Okay. So back in the day, we didn't have any of that, right? April, we're just playing songs, and when the song ends, we're like, all right, everybody rock and roll, right? Well, what would happen was, I'm not going to lie. I admit that, I did like to drink quite a bit in my time. And I always like to be the host of the party. And when you're the host of the party, sometimes you want to partake in that party. And I would take that to the extreme at some time. If anybody knows Red Leather, they probably have seen me at some point, maybe even black out on stage. I don't know, because I can't remember. But yes.
Oh no.
So I drank pretty excessively during a lot of these performances. And so what would happen was, it would become in between songs, and I would just start going off. And the band would just look at me and be like, let's start the song. And I just be talking because I'm the DJ, I'm the mouth, I'm just going to talk about everything, blah, 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 and tell some story. And I'm introing a song, and it's 5 minutes of an introduction. And so the band, what happened initially is the band would like, dude, we got to speed this up. You're talking longer than the song. So I said, you know what, you're right. So eventually it kind of transitioned to where, let's play these songs back to back. And then, yes, we'll take a break there. And, we got to change guitars or change tunings or whatever. And then you can kind of do your little thing that you do. So yes, that happened eventually. And then these last few years, it's really been just the opposite. I've been like, I don't want to talk. You guys, let's just play songs back to back to back to back. I can talk over the intros and kind of do my thing. But the older I've gotten, the more I've done this, the less I've wanted to be that, the less David Lee Roth, Robert Plant, the more I just want to just sing the songs. And that keeps a certain energy going too when you keep it going like that. And then when you do talk a little over the intro, it still gives you an opportunity to, transfer that energy back and forth with the crowd and whatnot. And so I think it works really well. I love playing songs back to back. I mean, sometimes I get really tired because I'm old and everything, but we do that. We do that a lot. Wow, that's killer, man. I was like, I never knew, like, when we sat down to talk, I didn't know if you're going to be like, oh yeah, I played in 25 bands and, started playing when I was 8 and, cigar bars or what was happening. Like, I had no idea that you had been with Red Leather that long. I mean, I knew it had been a while, but I didn't realize it had been that long. Red Leather is the only band I've been in Dallas. So when I was in college, I was in one band. I mean, I've probably been in 3 bands my whole life, which is crazy because I've been really doing it for
crazy.
So long, right?
Yeah.
I've been really like only in 3 bands my entire life that I can remember. And all 3 of those bands were actually pretty, we gigged, we played, and it was, we, in college, I had an original band and a cover band, and we played gigs everywhere. So, and then when I moved to Dallas, like I said, I was doing radio and that was my focus, but I was like, why am I not in a band? Why am I not taking advantage of this situation? So that's when I formed Red Leather, and then radio died out, Red Leather took over, and I've been doing it, for, Red Leather for 18 years. But, more recently, I will tell you that I have, obviously with COVID and everything, I haven't been playing gigs. And we talked about this last night a little bit. I just didn't feel like it was right for me to play gigs at this time. I would rather be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. I didn't want to go out there and, plus my mother-in-law has stage 4 cancer. So it just didn't make sense for me to put my family in jeopardy, or really to put anybody in jeopardy. In my head, I just didn't feel like it was the right thing to do. So Red Leather has really been on the shelf since COVID started. Now, we did play a streaming gig with no audience, and that was fun. And I really enjoyed that because I could just go into my own world. I didn't have to worry about the raps between songs. I didn't really have to worry about anything. We just jammed and we played. It was almost like you're being at a practice, right? That was great. And then we did play one gig when the first wave went down. We played an outdoor gig, but it kind of freaked me out because nobody was wearing masks and I just didn't feel safe. I didn't feel like people were taking this seriously.
Yeah, and to your point, you have somebody in your family that has stage 4 cancer. That's really scary because their immune system is so compromised. And that's one of the things we talk about a lot of times. I mean, since this is Breast Cancer Can Stick It, is if you're a breast cancer survivor, if you're going through breast cancer right now, chemo treatment and everything like that, your immune system is so compromised. It's really dangerous for you to have that threat. And, one of the things we talked about last night is I don't feel like I'm trapped or I'm stuck or I'm being tortured by staying home. I just kind of adapt. I just kind of adapt, and I'm like, okay, so this is a situation. What can I do that's fun? Right. And I find whatever the fun thing to do is. Like, I don't ever harp on the negative, what I can't do. Why would I want to think about what I can't do? What can I do? And then I go and run and do that. And so you've been doing some fun things recently at home musically, right?
Yeah, so that was the whole point of this.
Yeah.
So COVID happened and I kind of stepped back from Red Leather, and, I told the guys, hey, look, if you guys want to play gigs, cool, but I'm just not into it. So whatever. So instead, I've been at home with the guitar, I actually, playing guitar again and learning songs. And my good friend, Dan, who was in a band called Big Iron, I guess they're still playing gigs every once in a while, but he's also in a band called Dead Scene Believers, and they write and perform a lot in Deep Ellum. But me and him are really good friends, and he's an acoustic guitar player, a singer songwriter. He's a great songwriter, and we were best friends. And we just started at his place. We'd barbecue. This is pre-COVID, of course. We would barbecue, hang out, have pool parties, and play our guitars and sing. And I really started to enjoy that. And he just said one day, he goes, man, we should really maybe form a band, or at least learn enough songs to where we could maybe book some gigs. So with COVID and everything, we thought to ourselves, this is the perfect time to do this. So we kind of put together these songs, and we've learned about 60 songs. And it's everything from Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson to Guns N' Roses to, it's everything, all genres, basically, even new wave stuff. And we're playing The Alarm. We're playing, it's stuff that hasn't really been done. Or maybe it has been done, but not in this format, not this type. Basically what we're doing is just two guys and 2 acoustic guitars. We're singing, we're harmonizing, we're playing these songs. But the plan is it's transformed. And what we want to do with this, we call it Gift Horse. That's the name of our band. And what we want to do with this is we want to add some percussion. We want to, and not percussion, what I mean by that is I think you had the cool names last night.
Yeah, djembe, cajon, bongos, that kind of stuff.
Triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shakers.
And then maybe a slide guitar and maybe an upright bass. So we don't want to be that normal type of band. We want to be something different, and play these songs we're going to play them kind of like they are, but in some of these songs, we're changing the tempo, we're changing the time. So you'll recognize them, but they'll be totally cool
Yeah,
and
like
unique and different.
different style, really. That's so cool,
It's
man.
basically MTV Unplugged,
Right.
but with all genres of music.
Yeah.
So that's what we're developing. And so what has come out of this is we've developed some chemistry. And now he's a great songwriter, Dan Lehman from Big Iron, or just Dead Scene Believers. He's a great songwriter and he's written some great stuff. So we're now kind of thinking, well, let's write some songs and let's record these songs and maybe release something. And that's always been a dream. You know, I've always played in bands. I've you know, like I said, I've been in original bands, I've been in cover bands, but we never really recorded anything. I don't have anything that's recorded that, you know, I can give to my family or give to my kids. Like maybe when I'm old and not doing it anymore, my kids can always have this CD. Oh, this is Dad's band back when he was, you know, old or, you know, or younger.
Right.
So that's kind of what we're doing now is we're developing this band and developing these pieces to play some gigs once COVID is over, and also record some original material that we can have as a legacy that we, and who knows, maybe these songs will turn into, we can sell them to somebody who wants to perform them, or we can play them on the radio, or maybe, you know, maybe something will happen. You know, the music industry is really strange. You never know what's going to happen. Like Zach Malloy from the Nixons, he has a #1 song that's done by, who's that band? Atlas. What is this band called that sings Shine Down? Okay, Shine Down, their #1 song right now, was written by Zach Malloy.
I had no idea that, and I love Shine Down.
Yes.
That's crazy, man.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So we have songs. Dan's already trying to sell some of his songs, but so we want to write some songs to maybe have other artists do them, or maybe we do them, we record them, or maybe we put them out, you know, whatever. This is just, you know, like you said, we find ways to keep doing what we're doing. And, you know, technology has allowed us to do different things. And so I bought some home recording equipment. So we're really starting to piece this together to form that gift horse and whatever that leads to. I don't know.
That is so cool. It's just cool, I think, that, you know, in this time down, we're able to like come up with new outlets for our music. That if this hadn't happened, we would never be doing it probably. You know,
Red Leather would still be playing gigs every other week.
Yeah, I mean, and I was playing in Metal Shop. We're playing like 10 gigs a month, and now, you know, since the pandemic, I played twice. So, I mean, it's just like a different planet, but I think it's this really cool opportunity. And, you know, I think that that's one of the things we talk about a lot on the show is kind of finding the positive in a bad situation and just kind of making the best of it and almost coming out with something even better after having gone through it. So it's really really kind of a cool point, man. Dude, this is the coolest story ever. And after this show is over, we're going to break out this interview and pop it up on our YouTube channel in the next month or so.
Oh, that'll be cool.
So we'll have it out there for you to check out and everything. But man, I got to give a shout out to some people, and you can say hi to. We've got Marty is here. Marty Galchut is here. We got Sabrina, Darla, Daniel, Teresa, Harriet is in the house. Vanessa, Shelley. Thank you guys for all being here and hanging out. Man, Chaz, thank you so much for taking time. It's really cool to, like I said, we don't ever get to like sit down and have like a conversation about our history and music. And it's just really cool to learn all this about you, because to me, you're that guy who was on the Eagle, did the local show, and then you're that guy who's the lead singer of Red Leather. And we see each other, we hang out and chat, but we don't ever get to hear the full story. So it's really cool to hear all that. And if you find any of your Kiss baseball cards, you're gonna have to, you know, take a picture and send it to me, because I don't have mine anymore, and I'm bummed, man.
I moved last year into this new house, and I found stuff that really was been in storage for 10 years. So I found a bunch of cool old stuff that I haven't seen in forever. So I'm always, you know, unpacking. I've started this new page on Facebook called Local Show with Chaz. So I'm still kind of supporting local bands. And on that page, I'm doing just posting, you know, about, you know, new bands now, some of the older bands that I dealt with when I was on the show. And so it's called Local Show with Chaz. It's a Facebook page, and you can go there. Obviously, we got the Red Leather page. I got a gift horse page for my new project. And, one of the things that I'm really excited about with all this technology is, and what we're doing with Gift Horse, is we've decided to start a podcast. I know you're doing this show, and it's awesome and amazing. And I would love to get to this point at some time and do our own show. We would like to do a podcast or some kind of a video. What do they call it? A vlog? I don't even know what they call it now. Sorry.
Yeah, it's totally like a video blog. So yeah, like a vlog.
So we want
yeah,
to do something like that where we can actually play some songs on the program and then talk about music and whatever.
Right.
So that's in the future too.
That'll be so cool, man. Yeah.
But if I dig some stuff out, I'll definitely, and we have to jam. I mean, me and you, we've known each other for how long? We
Too long.
Play together.
I know, man. As soon as you record some stuff, ship it over to me, send it over to me. We'll make a video, pop it out there. It'll be way fun. I'm on it.
You know all
I'm
the
there.
names. What were the names?
You know the names. That's what matters.
So you should play on it.
You can say Jimbei and Cajon, man. You're hired. Totally hired. That's awesome. I want you to know that we did put the Local Show with Chaz link in our chat here, so everybody can go check that out. And then it's Gift Horse. We'll find that and pop that in here as well.
It's Gift Horse Party. It's facebook.com/Gift Horse Party.
Got it.
The Red Leather one is facebook.com/Red Leather Rocks.
Sweet.
I'm just trying to think of all these.
Yeah. We'll pop them in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still doing it. I'm still doing my thing. I'm having fun, even during COVID. I mean, we're doing what we do, and just looking forward to all this being over and us being able to get out and be together again for sure.
Amen to that, man. Thank you so much, Chaz, for joining us tonight. It's been really cool getting to know you even better. And let me know when you get that music out there, and we'll rock some stuff together and put some videos out and be like real rock stars again.
Very soon.
All right, you take care, Chaz. You have a great night, man.
Thank you, guys.
See you later. All right, everybody, that was Chaz. He's a rock star, man. So grateful that he could join our show this evening. You can catch him again. He mentioned that he's got a new project called Gift Horse, and they're at facebook.com/Gift Horse Party or Gift Horse Party, if I'm remembering that correctly. We did put a link in there for the Local Show with Chaz, so please be sure to check that out. So much fun to chat with him.